Welcome to the Saturday Sip Along. All right, we're live.
Hey everybody, happy Saturday night.
Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's doing all right out there. If you saw the thumbnail, you probably know what we're going to talk about tonight, but just in case you did not, we are going to be discussing Blade and Bow from the original Stitzel Weller
Stitzel Weller.
Stitzel Weller Distillery. Stitzel, the one that closed down in 1992 and was kind of reopened later, or no, it was reopened in 92, I think, or something like that. Anyway, it was shut down after Julian died. That was where the family then sold it. Buffalo Trace eventually bought the Weller name and the Pappy line and all of that. But Diageo bought the Stitzel Weller Distillery. Now, they don't produce Weller there anymore, but they're still known as the Stitzel Weller Distillery, right? But Blade and Bow, so there's this whole story behind how this came about, right? And so there was a market crash on whiskeys in the 60s and 70s. Everybody was choosing clear, neutral spirit alcohols like vodka and tequila and things like that. And there was a big mixed drink craze going on, disco time and all that type of stuff. And, it was just easier to make and concoct mixed drinks with neutral spirits, And so after a while, the bourbon actually that they had stockpiled became less. It was almost useless.
Worthless,
yeah. They sold a bunch of barrels off to Canada, and they came out with Crown Royal, right?
Canadian whiskey, yeah.
Yep. So just imagine some of the first people to get Crown Royal
was a little bit of Pappy in it.
Yeah, well, but Pappy got big later, right? It wasn't like the fame thing it is today. But it's the low production volume of it. They had a fire. Buffalo Trace did, and they lost a rick house or two or something like that, and they made a big deal about it, and then it's coveted, and it wasn't just on the shelves everywhere. I mean, if y'all don't realize this, Pappy 23 retail market price is like $200 and something. On the aftermarket, I've seen it go for $18,000, $19,000 a bottle. I would never pay that for it. I've had it. I mean, you can go to Louisville, Kentucky, over on Market. There's Green something liquors, green something. I can't remember the damn name of it. It starts with green. It's Green something liquors, and they sell you Pappy 21, Pappy 23, whatever they have for $20 a pour. I mean, you can get an ounce pour of Pappy Van Winkle and sit there and enjoy it at the bar. And it is delicious. I can tell you that. It's really smooth, but it's still a wheated bourbon. Now, that's the other thing Pappy was big on. Local source. He was using a lot of local source stuff, and rye was hard to come by, there because rye is grown in colder climates and everything. So he went almost total wheat and also did local source yeast. Didn't do the exotic yeast like they're doing today, and all that. But so the flavors changed over the years. But anytime you slow age and the cooler, less humidity, drier environment down in a basement somewhere, that's where you're going to get a long aged bourbon that doesn't just overpower you with the tannins from the wood. Bitter stuff starts coming out. Now, a lot of heat and a lot of pressure changes in that barrel forces the juice up in the wood and comes out. And that's when you start running into Garrison Brothers that age in Texas and stuff like that. I mean, that's a good bourbon in its own right, but it is oaky as hell. It is very oaky. I will tell you that. And it's almost to the point of being bitter. What's up, OG Science World? Oh, and to shout out who's in the chat, Matt J's here. We got Mick T, Crazy Ann, Lori, RB's here. And yes, Lori, I'm going to play music, but I don't play music on my regular shows. That will be the after party, and I will schedule that here in a little bit, and we'll kick that off, and I'll play the guitar a little bit over there. But back to Blade and Bow, and if I don't catch everybody in the chat, I apologize because we're trying to talk about this bourbon here. So where we were was talking about Weller, and Weller's, they call themselves the original wheated bourbon, and that's.
With good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, good reason. But, Blade and Bow, their thing was they were selling off. Stitzel Weller was selling off these barrels because they were almost worthless. But then the market changed, and then they had some barrels left. And all of a sudden, Pappy became the big thing, right? Again, so they had these barrels, and they created something they call a Solera aging system, which it doesn't have, we don't have to do rocket science math here. Okay. If I have a Coca-Cola and I say, this Coke is this is the last Coca-Cola in the world, and it's only going to last me so long. So I'm going to take a drink out of it, and then I'm going to fill it back up with something else. Pepsi, after a while, and that's going to blend, but after a while, the original Coke's gone.
It's all gone.
It's all gone, right? So if you haven't bought a bottle of Blade and Bow, and yes, technically there could be some traces of a well-aged Pappy in here, but it is so minuscule that probably today that but it is an interesting bourbon.
If you could find one from about 5 or 6 years ago, you might.
I would like to and compare them. And what I've done, and I have Blade and Bow here, and this bottle you can see it's getting down there close to the point of the going into the infinity bottle. But I have a full bottle sitting up on the shelf that I bought around the same time. So what I'm going to do is give it another year or so, and I'm going to get another Blade and Bow and just make sure that the batch, it's not from an old stock, and then I'm going to compare them then. But regardless of the hype, regardless of I'm pouring Pepsi back into my Coca-Cola, right? They are sourcing bourbons from undisclosed places, undisclosed mash bills, and their whole big push is the Weller name, the Pappy name, and all of that. That's what they're trying to sell. But almost every distillery out there, even non-distilling producers out there, they have a backstory. They have hype. They have something they can market. They have all of this stuff. I don't knock them points for that. I mean, it's a pretty bottle, and they have the 5 keys, which the 5 keys was a Julian Van Winkle thing. It represented the 5 different stages of the whiskey process from grain to distillation and all aging. So that was he wanted people when they visited the distillery to appreciate the 5 steps of the aging process, right, or the whiskey process, making a good bourbon. So that's what he pushed out there. Excuse me. And I appreciate them keeping that little legacy piece alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about having all 5 keys. I buy so many bourbons that I'm not going to go buy all of the Blade and Bows I can find. But this is one of my, now when I say this, people get me wrong. I say it's one of my favorite bourbons because of the price. Right? I get more notes out of Blade and Bow at that price range than most of the other bourbons in that price range.
What's the price range? 75?
I know
50 to
it's it's around $50. Yeah, it's not that high. I mean, I think it may even be under 50. When I bought these, they were probably $40, $45, $47. Now they have a longer aged one that's going to be, more, but it's still the same mixed up juice. Oh, hoy, groovy. It's still the same blend. It's a blended bourbon, but they just age it in the barrels longer. But the other thing that now I can't attest for Blade and Bow, but the other thing Julian Van Winkle was famous for, Pappy, was barreling at a lower proof. Because most distilleries, and I know I've talked about this before, they barrel it at the highest legal proof possible because they want the biggest yield from the barrel. They're going for quantity over quality. And now I can't attest that Blade and Bow does this, but I know a couple of other distilleries that does it, and Rabbit Hole is one of them. That's why their bourbons taste so good. It's smoother bourbon. It's not watered down at all, hardly. They hardly cut it at all. They try to target the barrel to get the proof they want, but they tend to target it a little tiny bit high because they don't want it to come in low. But they can always add a little bit of water, and they add that purified limestone water, all that stuff, So the Pappy legacy that they're trying to hold on to, it's not here in front of us. I can tell you that, but it's still, I like the notes I get out of this for a sub $50 bourbon.
So when I win the lotto, I'm going to buy a bottle of Pappy 23 to celebrate with.
Yeah, I would too, if you can find it. Yeah.
Price is no object, people. No.
Now, on the nose, the oak comes through on it, but not heavy. Black pepper, vanilla. There's some fruit notes in there.
Pear.
Yep, pear. It's typical bourbon notes, but there's a little more going on, for a $50 bourbon. But I'm going to take a sip of it because we've been nosing this for a little bit. We also poured these about 5 minutes before the show, so they've had plenty of time to get some air in it. The thing I really like about Blade and Bow, it's got a finish on it, but it's creamy finish. It's there's a little black pepper, but it lasts for several swallows. Like it lingers there. You get a shock up the center of the tongue, and I don't like to give a lot of notes off of that first sip because it is kind of a first sip of the day type thing, and you got to get used to it. But there's a sweetness up the center of the tongue, but it coats the mouth really well. Yeah. So the fruit notes, there's a little, how do I put it? Do you taste that little, almost like a little musty note on the sides of the tongue? It's like, instead of it being like just pure oak note, it's almost like a wet oak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is the only thing that kind of is odd about this bourbon. But that's a sour mash.
Other than that, it's good.
Yep. But they've really tamed that sour mash down, But yeah, it's a fine bourbon. Now, you're not going to get 150 notes out of it. You're just not going to. The vanilla's coming through, dipping into caramel. You're getting pear. I get a little apricot, out of it. Not a lot of grassy notes to this at all. Not a lot of bready notes to it. Some people like some bourbons I can taste, and I get the sensation of like a fresh, warm pretzel. I don't get that out of Blade and Bow. This is more of a oak and fruit type bourbon with the wood sugars coming out. What's up, Dewani and Matt J. RB again? Oh, it's around 50. Yeah, it's around $50, and prices vary geographically. and we're ABC ran here, so they charge exactly MSRP. And so I would have to go look up the MSRP. And I also haven't bought a bottle in over a year. I've been buying other bourbons, but I bought 3 bottles of it when I bought it. And I think it was tax and all about $150. So I think I remember it being right in there somewhere.
Taste the pepper?
Oh yeah.
Chocolate?
Oh, and not just black pepper, but do you taste that like green pepper in there too? Like a roasted crushed green pepper. They have a little different aroma about them. The green pepper is a little more floral in the heat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there is
something I don't recognize, so that might be it.
Yeah. Well, and there's a wildflower floral note in this as well.
Good stuff, Maynard.
Mm-hmm. So we've about covered the whole damn thing on it. but no, I mean, the hype on it again, I wouldn't run out and buy this because you think you're getting Pappy Van Winkle or even a piece of Pappy Van Winkle. I mean, I'm sure at some level it's in there, maybe still, but they've been doing this for several years. So you keep adding and you keep pulling, and you're not gonna have the same juice.
That's right.
How many sips have been taken from the Coke can and refilled with Pepsi?
Not too many if you're smart. Dr. Pepper would be better.
Yeah, and if I were going to do the test like that, I would want to use like Dr. Pepper and ginger ale or something completely different.
Yeah, definitely.
That way, you can kind of try to replicate on a small scale the Solera process, and then like multiply your volume by the millions or something, and then say 1 ounce is like 1,000,000 ounces or something, and then see what you can do with it and how long it takes it. There's a measure in there somewhere that you could say, you know what, after this long, it's pretty much gone. I mean, I'm just getting pure ginger ale now. I'm not getting Dr. Pepper at all anymore, and then you could kind of calculate it. But again, I don't hold the hype against them, I did talk to one of the brand ambassadors from Buffalo Trace, and we did a virtual tasting, and I got some bottles from them. And he said by 2025, even the Pappy line is going to be more available. It won't be as allocated.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But it's going to be, it's still going to be allocated. But by 2025, they will have it will be less of an allocation issue because they have some barrels that are about to hit the maturity there. But of course, just like with It's Not Rocket Science, the younger bourbons are back in production faster. They're producing all these barrels. So your Buffalo Trace is pretty much easy to get again. Eagle Rare is going to be next, and then you're going to, and Weller. You can get the green label Weller, but you start getting up into the CYPBs and the Antique 107s and stuff. It takes more years, to put those out. And then they're always going to charge a premium price for like the William LaRue Weller brand, the Buffalo Trace Antique line and all of that. They're gonna jack the price up on it. I mean, they have to store it. Space is money,
That's right.
And but I think Pappy's old motto is out the window, though.
I agree.
So
you can't have that much in it.
Yeah, Pappy. No, well, I'm saying his motto of whiskey, making whiskey. He said, "We're going to try to make a whiskey that turns a profit, but I will make it even if it doesn't turn a profit. But I'm going to focus on quality first, right?" That was one of his. I probably didn't get that verbatim, so don't quote me on that. But you can look it up. But anyway, what he was saying is, I'm not going to focus on the money I'm going to make. But see, now these global brands own these distilleries. Like we were just talking about, Diageo owns, this one. So when you get these involvement from these huge global brands, they have a responsibility to their shareholders. They're they're corporations. So they got to turn a profit, and they're legally bound to. So, at some point that his mantra is probably dead, but they're still trying to produce good stuff.
And they aren't producing really good stuff.
Well, I'm not talking about Stitzel Weller anymore. I'm talking about Buff Trace, but I'm sure they've lost their butt a couple of times, especially with that fire. But they have so many different rick houses, state of the art aging facilities. But there's laws in Kentucky about just aging facilities, about when you can and can't have electricity ran to the building. Some of this stuff I didn't include in the documentary film, but behind the scenes we were talking about all that. And in my phone calls with Mark Dettori out there, he was telling me about some of these laws, because I said I'd like to shoot inside of a rick house, which they truck their barrels, over to Wilderness Trail, and it was too far away, and we were only there for a few days. But I wanted to shoot on the inside, and he's like, "Well, you're going to have to bring in a light source because there's no electricity in the facility." Because what they do is they fire it up and they make it hot, say electricity, and they work in there and they build it and they get everything ready, and then they shut it off. They shut the electricity off. And so they're, because it's too much of a risk of fire, and these aging facilities aren't manned 24/7. I mean, they're not, you don't know, somebody doesn't see the rat eating the wire, and getting poofed, because you're talking about multi-years that the barrel's just sitting there. And they have security around the building and all that, but there's no reason for somebody to pay somebody to sit there and watch a barrel age.
That's true.
Yeah. But I am really enjoying. I really like, and Blade and Bow may become less of a favorite to me later on as it continues, because the one thing that does irk me about it is I don't know the whiskeys and mash bills that went into this, to refill the Dr. Pepper bottle with the new analogy with ginger ale. Where did the ginger ale come from that's going in here, in my Dr. Pepper? So that's one thing they don't tell you. And my name is Mr. Elvis Presley. Well, good. So, all right. So I did buy a couple of beer today. And here's a good story for you. It's hot outside.
It's freaking hot outside. Yes.
So I went to Total Wine, and they have single pint beers that you can choose from, but they're not cold. They're just on a shelf. So I brought it home. I'm sitting over here in the studio, and I thought I'll set them in the freezer for like 45 minutes. And and the reason I didn't set an alarm on my phone is because I left it in the car. And I had left it plugged in the car because I was carrying all the beer in and everything. I just forgot the phone. And I thought, hell, it's all right. I'll go get it in a little bit, but I'll remember. And I looked at the time, and it was 12:30. I thought, well, 1:15, I'll pull them out of the freezer, put them in the refrigerator. 4 hours later, I'm sitting in the recliner over there, and I'm doing that intro, with the
hand?
Well, with the mouth moving.
Oh, yeah, the mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I forgot something. And I thought, for a split second, well, it must not have been that important, because I would remember it. And then right at that moment, I about jumped up, like I almost levitated out of the chair, and I put my laptop over to the side, and I went and got the beer cans out, and I set them over there on the counter. And then I was going to spray. I got Roundup 365, and we have pine needles all down the hill over there, and I was going to spray all that because it's starting to poof back out. And so I took the beers outside with me, and I put them on top of the recycle thing out there. I underestimated how hot it is outside. because after I got finished spraying, I went and checked them, and they were like totally wet and starting to get warm. So I put them back in the freezer. But I remembered that time. And then when you came, I pulled them out and set them back on the counter just in case. So they should be fine. But I did buy one. It's called Coco Loco.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a chocolate stout. And then I got I can't remember the other one. It's Left Hand Brewing, and I trust Left Hand Brewing.
Yeah. What was it? Color purple.
I don't know, flamingo.
Purple flamingo or something.
Something.
Like
I don't know.
Flaming flamingo or
Something.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a summery type thing. So I thought we would try those. Now the Coco Loco, when I pulled it out of the freezer, the can would still move. Because you press on it, it's firm, but you can make it move because it's a much higher alcohol content than the Flamingo one. It wouldn't move at all. It was like solid. So it's 4.something%. But yeah, we'll pull those out and we'll give those a try here. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much I just wanted to let people know, educated, informed decision. If you want to try Blade and Bow, if you want to collect keys, now if you didn't before, what the hype is or is not. You got some truth behind it.
So nothing happens if you get all 5 keys?
No, you have all 5 keys.
You don't send them in and get some kind of award or something?
Mm-mm. But they do make decorative things that you can put the keys on. But they come just on a string hanging around the top of the bottle, or they put it underneath you have to break the seal, to get the key. But except people would just take them from the store if they didn't. But no, I mean it's the same as like on the Blanton's bottles. You get the horse, and there's 5 different horses. I think there's 5. Is there 5? I think it's 5. The same on Blanton's, and if you get them all, you can get a old stave, whiskey stave that's got the holes drilled where the corks fit on them, and you can display. And they make a round one that you can put a Blanton's bottle in the middle of, and the corks are all around it.
Oh wow!
And you can put one of each all around it. So yeah, I mean they have some pretty cool stuff, but I mean I have that Booker's thing on the front of that false front on that sink. I just got it even and screwed it in there. But we collect things, I guess, sometimes. I'm bad about not throwing my bourbon bottles away when they're empty. And my wife comes in, do you really need to keep these? No, not really. One for each letter. So 8 on Blanton's. Okay. All right. 8 of them. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm not a big collector like that. I like the juice. I just focus on that and not all the hype. But I do like to bring people the truth behind the hype, here and there. But let me go get those little glasses and Saucy Shane, what's going on?
If they haven't tried this, they should at least try it.
Right? Well, yeah, it's good. It's good for a $50 bourbon. Yeah, it's good. And that's my preface on all of this. When I say it's one of my favorite bourbons, it's in that range, $50. I wouldn't go higher. If they go up on price, do you want to try the Coco Loco or this is a Flamingo Dreams?
Other one. Definitely.
All right.
The Flamingo can wait.
Well, that is a berry nitro. It's a nitrous brew, and on the Flamingo thing, and I hope this doesn't freeze up when I open it. Nah, it's good. This is Noda, Noda Brewing Company. Ooh, that's dark.
Cheers, Saucy. Hey, Crazy Ann. Long time no see.
All right. There's your coffee.
That looks like a dark beer right there. Isn't it?
Yep. Right there. Coco Loco Porter with cocoa nibs and coconut.
Not bad.
That is really good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. It's not too sweet. It's but boy, that cocoa comes through, and I can get some of that coconut too. Now I like the. I mean, you just can't beat the Bourbon County stouts. You know. Now I hope Budweiser doesn't screw them up, but
So thumbs up for Coco Loco.
yeah, that's a good, not too heavy either. Let me see what the ABV is on this.
6.2.
6.2. That's not bad. I mean, that's low for actually for. I would have done bad on what the ABV. I would have probably. I mean, because we didn't taste it on there, but that's why I wanted to look for it. I didn't. The alcohol content didn't come through for me. I was thinking it was going to be like a 7.5 or 8 at least, and no, it's only 6.2.
Pretty good.
And it's not too cold, but it's just right in that right range, I think, for a porter. So yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit bitter.
Not too much of a coffee taste, though.
Well, you're getting a little bitter kick off of it, but I'd rather have a little bit of bitter than too sweet on it. But yes, Oji-san, BCS is the king. Like I said, I hope Budweiser doesn't screw them up. But come fall, I am going to do another BCS run. And I'll be in line that morning to get them. I'll be there early. I'll wait. It's bad when you have to go inconvenience yourself to spend $250.
I know, huh? Yeah, let me wait in line here for about 6 hours so I can spend my $250.
Other than BCS, I mean, I would probably do it if somebody said we're selling Pappy Van Winkle at market, right? Manufacturer suggested retail price here, MSRP on this for $285 or whatever, you know, for a 23. I would probably get a tent and camp outside the building. But there's no way I would sell the bottle. I mean, I had people offering me money when I bought that Elijah Craig 18, and they kept, like, they found out I had it because I put a little video out of, look what I got. Oh, have you opened it yet? Have you opened it yet? Have you opened it yet? And I'm like, I'm going to. And they're like, I'll give you, you know, $400 for it. I'll give you $500 for it. I'll give you, you know, and I'm like, finally, I opened it and I did a review on it. And I said, it's open. Quit asking, you know, because I don't buy bourbon to sell. I buy it to drink, you know, and that's just me.
Yeah, you can have one of the other 20 bottles I got over there.
Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, now if I were going into and I had a chance to buy multiple bottles of like a Pappy 23, I'd probably buy 5 of them and just bite the bullet on the $1,200 or whatever it was, you know, going to be, or $1,100 or whatever, you know, and or 13 or whatever it would come out to. I'm not going to do the math right here, but I would just, you know, pay that, and then I would sell a bottle, you know, to recoup something. Yeah, sipper, not a flipper. But I mean, if you had an opportunity to even spend $1,500 and get 5 bottles of Pappy 23, you could sell one of them for $6,000-$7,000 overnight. You know, now, and I would, at that point, I would drive and hand deliver, you know, type thing. But yeah, it would cost, but because you would get your $1,500 back plus a ton.
Yeah, plus more.
Yeah, quick.
That's a quick investment.
And you know, that entire money, all the other thousands I would get off of it I would have to make more shelves or something. You know,
Extend them all the way across.
But you know, who's ever going to have the chance to do that? You know, really. And once the allocation starts dropping, the price is going to come way down. You know, what you can get for it. Oh, usually too drunk to think about making money. Yeah. I do like this Coca Loco. I think it's a fine, lower ABV chocolate porter. But I do like and the coconut's hard to detect in it. I think it's that they use the cocoa nibs and they can be bitter. But I think that's overpowering, like the coconut. You need a little sweetness to bring out the coconut. Oh, yeah, man. Slante.
Hey, Cool Running. How's your Saturday night going?
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing good out there. Yep, I hope everybody's doing good. We had COVID run through the house, but I isolated here in this room and never got it. But you know, they stayed, and I put on a KM95 mask every time I left this room, and then but I never got it, thankfully. And my biggest thing was I didn't want to lose my sense of taste or smell. And that
would be bad for
that
you.
would be really bad. I wouldn't be able to do a review at all, But no, that was what I was more worried about than anything, because I've had shots and boosters and stuff, but my oldest at home had all that too, still lost sense of taste. Couldn't taste anything.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But we isolated until the test came back negative, and then here we are. So I'm gonna kill that gnat. Oh, I missed it. All right, I'll get it in a minute. I sprayed the Roundup today on the hill and the sidewalks. Little grass growing up. Where you don't want it. And tomorrow I'm gonna clear out a little bit, and I'm gonna do that spray around the outside of the house. I got my own. I'm getting rid of Orkin. They can. That's a waste of freaking money. They're not doing anything. I mean, the stuff never changes. They come, and I even called them out in between sprays, because they said, "Oh, you can call us in between sprays, and it doesn't cost you anything." And so I called them out in between sprays. I'd given it like 2 weeks after they sprayed, and I said, "Y'all gonna have to come back out, man. I've got these little ants and stuff in here." And then they were on the phone like, "Okay, yeah, we'll have to schedule it, da 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 da," and all that. And I was like, "No, y'all need to get your ass out here." And they're like, "Well, this and that and the other." And then finally, I talked them into coming in like 2 or 3 days. I said, "Look, you got to come do something." And so they were going to come back out. And then they were like, "Okay, and this is free." I said, "Yeah, I know. I read the contract. It's free. I can call you as many times as I want." "Okay, well, just so you know, we're going to do this at no additional charge to you." I understand that. That's what the contract says. If you tried to charge me, you'd be in breach of contract, So yeah, they kept stressing that it was not going to cost me
they
anything.
need to train their customer service people better.
Yeah. And I was like, "Okay.
See, it's free once and then shut up."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. I already knew, but, if she had said, "Well, it'll be a $60 charge or something," I'd be like, "Well, come here, and I got a shoe on my left foot, 'cause I'm left-footed, that will go squaw."
Yeah, okay, I'll pay the $60, but that's the last $60 you guys are ever getting from me.
No, I tried to call and cancel, man. You call to get service, and they're on the spot, dude. And you call to cancel, and they'll leave you on hold for an hour and a half.
They will.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm trying to do, and they don't take calls on the weekends and stuff, for cancellation. "Oh, you have to call your local office to cancel. We can't do that at this office, and you have to call during their hours." Well, I'm freaking working,
Yeah, my mother-in-law had a hard time canceling on them too.
Oh, I'm just gonna tell them, as I'll call the bank and say, "Quit paying them."
She passed away, canceled.
Yeah.
I don't know if they canceled her then.
Yeah, I mean, frick with me, and I'll call the bank and say, "I'm not authorizing this charge anymore."
Yeah, that's true.
And then let them call me and tell me I owe a late fee, and I'll be like, "You motherfuckers, now that I have your attention, you know, and I can finally get you on the phone, now let's cancel it, you know, because you ain't gonna make it hard. Don't get wrapped up in that stuff. Don't.
Did you check out the one I sent you?
No, I mean I got my own stuff over there. I got a whole sprayer and everything. It cost me less than a monthly charge from Orkin to buy all the stuff I needed. You got sprayers out there on that.
Yeah, the rest.
All right.
Good stuff.
That is good. And it's empty now. No, I do recommend this. But just know what you're getting into. It's not super sweet at all. It's not sweet. It's a little bit, you'll get a little bitter kick off of it. But
not as bitter as coffee, though.
Yep. I don't drink coffee, but I have drank coffee, but I don't drink coffee all the time. I can say that when I do get dessert at a restaurant, if we go out and eat fancy schmancy and I get like a dessert or something at the end, like creme brulee or something, I get a espresso shot to get that out of my mouth. This is nowhere near bitter as espresso. All right, guys, it's 7:55. I am going to step right over here to this other StreamYard instance, and I'm going to set up the after party right now. New broadcast, and yes, I will play the guitar. Set sip after party. All right. And I do not monetize my after party, so I mean I don't want a copyright strike, but you know. All right, schedule for later. No thumbnail on this one. I am going to go 8. Can I do 8:10? Yes, I can. You have to schedule it 15 minutes out, but it's letting me do 8:10. I can always start it early. All right, so we're scheduled at 8:10. I'm going to
So you're starting at 8:10 a.m.
p.m. Scheduled 8:10 p.m. Right.
Oh, you can see it right there. All right.
I mean, I know what I'm doing here.
I know you do. Just seeing if I can catch you, but I couldn't.
All right, so studio, content, live, scheduled, get a shareable link, come back to the live StreamYard, post the link right there. And that's where we're, if you choose to be, that's where we're going to be here in just a few minutes. Can't start more than 5 minutes late on it. So I have to start before 8:15 or Facebook cancels your live.
That's pretty rude.
No, they just want you to be prompt. I'm usually prompt.
You are, yeah.
I might be a few seconds off.
You are very prompt.
Well, that's a military thing. If you're 15 minutes early, you're right on time. If you're right on time, you're 15 minutes late.
When the train's leaving at 8 o'clock, it's leaving at frickin' 8 o'clock, not 8:01, not
Yep.
second after, which is cool.
All righty. So, like I said, I can start it early, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll go to the after party.
Hey, everybody, have a great Saturday night. Have a great weekend.
Hope to see you over
We'll
there.
see you next week, man.
Yep, and hope to see you at the after party.
Nice to be back, by the way.
All right.